There's a bunch of jobs, right? And your face is on all of those bubbles right now. Your first 2 hires do not give you more freedom. So let's talk about the organizational structure that every team needs in order to be able to scale. Now, there's no one size fits all, but let's go through some of this so people have an idea of what they actually need to do to freaking win. What does that actually should it look like?
I think there's a couple things you got to do before you do an org chart. Actually, no, do an org chart. But what's it going to look like? You in the middle and all these spokes coming off and everybody directly coming to you.
Yes, marketing is your face. Sales is your face, right? Fulfillment is your face, and then money is your face, right? So I think that's actually a really funny way to do it. Like, hey, here is the org chart. Guess what? There's a bunch of jobs, right? There's 4 divisions, right? You got money, you got marketing, you got sales, you got fulfillment, whatever it is, and your faces are all of those bubbles right now. And the goal is to start giving away some of those faces over time. But that is like you have as independent entrepreneur, like you are running all those different offices.
Yeah. And this video, if you didn't watch the other ones, builds off the others, right? So we talked about burnout and structures and team leaders. And so go back and watch those because they'll kind of build on this one. But basically, you're right. Build out your org chart with all the different positions. If your face is it, your face is it. That's cool. So what I've been told, and I'm not a business major, but I've been doing it long enough, you should have no more than 6 direct reports. And everybody should have a clear job description. So use AI, get a job description. That's fine. But what I mean is this is Sally is marketing and Sally is marketing. You know, Jane is listings. Jane is listings. Now they may be cross-trained in case one's out, but Jane is not doing marketing for the listings because she's on listings. Marketing is marketing. So you got to do that. Then all I would do is I would build out my ideal org chart. I would build out what would I want this to look like in 10 years? Don't worry about the agent count right now, but like, maybe you go up, maybe you do that. Maybe 10 years, you go, I want 5 agents in 1 year, 10 agents the second year, and build it up. And then what would I need to support them and color code it? That's your growth plan. Yeah. And again, your face is there now, but you don't need a moving coordinator right now. You don't. Like I've wanted one for 5 years and my face has been that, even though I don't do it. Because eventually when I get to a certain level, I'm going to put somebody in there. But that's my growth plan. And it shouldn't be more than 6 people directly reporting to you. And that's hard. Yeah.
So typically, like if we're looking at this, we want to actually articulate it out. More headcount does not just mean better. So when you look at this, step 1 is, and we call this the will. If you want this whole PowerPoint, I'll share it with you if you send us a message. But step 1 is you. It's you in the wilderness. It's you doing 1 to 20 transactions, trying to figure out what is going on. You're working on your car. You're exhausted. There's no free time, not enough money, right? Like that's the very beginning. Then let's say you get through the wilderness. It means you kind of figure out what you're going to do for lead generation. You kind of figure out what your weekly schedule is going to look like. You kind of get some of that dived in. So then you get to single life. And single life is where you're doing, maybe 24 transactions, maybe 36 transactions, kind of on your own. You kind of found your groove. You may be still overspending on some things, but you're doing pretty well. You start building your database. Now, this is where profit will be the highest. This is where you are making potentially, 60% profit, 70% profit. This is amazing because you don't have items on the shelf, right? This is amazing. But then you go, kind of tired of doing everything, right? You want predictability, you want profitability, you want a little bit of freedom. So then you go to what we typically call like the struggling agent. And the struggling agent is where you hire all wrong. So instead of hiring out some of these departments, you go, I just need 3 buyer's agents. And you bring on 3 people that don't know what the hell they're doing. And now you are admin for not 1 person. You're now admin for 4. You are now tech support for 4 people. You are now tax and everything else for 4 people. You now are TC for 4. Like, it is a disaster. Then you crash and burn. Your profitability goes down to basically nothing. And that's where all things end. So the other way is to get to a lifestyle boutique. And a lifestyle boutique is where you make a couple hires. And these are the ones that are important. So I don't think you should get a buyer's agent or bring anyone on your team until you're doing a significant amount of transactions and until you have these hires. The first hire, I believe, and Brad might disagree with me, but most people tell you your first hire is a TC, could be a transaction coordinator. But I think your first hire is a coach to make sure you don't screw up all the other hires.
Yeah.
Right. So you get a coach that helps you build out this structure, helps you maybe get a transaction coordinator, then maybe helps you get someone that helps with database and things along those lines. An executive assistant is who you need next.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. Like you need a coach to help you not make a mistake because the most expensive thing you can do is do the wrong thing. Like it's just going to set you back. But I do agree. People, I've seen it, dude. I had a guy that was on my team years ago, and he did, I'm not knocking him, 25 deals this first year with us, but mainly Zillow leads from us. I think he did 6 his own, which is still good. Not knocking it. But he went to a different company, and so he went from 25 to 6 because he didn't take my Zillow with him. And immediately I see hiring a TC and a showing agent, buyer's agent. Well, one, you did 6 deals last year. You don't have enough buyers for a buyer's agent. So you're right. Have a coach to help you kind of filter through stuff. Get a TC. What you need to do next is do everything that you're not good at, right? So don't do anything you're not good at. So hire the TC to do the contract management, all the stuff. So that means you have more time to be with buyers and sellers. You need a buyer or showing agent or selling assistant, however you want to do that. You need that when you can't physically make it to every appointment you have because you have too many appointments. But you need to be at 75% before you do that. You do that and you start bringing them along with you to learn, not just bringing on somebody that's been selling. Go ahead. Sorry.
And here's what's going to get hate mail. Your first 2 hires do not give you more freedom. Like you don't get beach time on your first 2 hires. You don't get more coffee shop time. You don't get more get to stay home time. Okay. You don't get to go to more kids events, right? The first 2 hires give you time to go do more of what you're great at. Your first 2 hires actually give you more time to do lead generation. Your first 2 hires actually give you more time to do more networking and go on more appointments, right? Most people get an assistant. They're like, oh, cool. Now I get to work half the time. Hell no. Now you get to double down on the things you're good at that are hard to give away. And then we can begin to talk about like getting more freedom and things like that after that. But I think that's the biggest thing. People go, oh, I have an executive assistant. Now I get to consciously or unconsciously, they're like, oh, now I get to work 20 or 30% less. Hell no. Now you get to double down on those things, which is one of the reasons why I think people don't actually do it. Because they go, well, if I hired a transaction coordinator, then what would I do? Ooh, I would do more lead generation. Don't really want to do that. So I'm just going to stay in the weeds and pretend I'm super, super busy and can't get to any of my kids' events.
Correct. So let's recap. So one, we talked about being reactive, just hiring the wrong people, wrong time, just because we think we need it. Then we talked about getting clarity, right? So it's not just about headcount. It's about, who we need and when. So we know clarity on how we can scale. At this point, we hired this person. At this point, we hired this person. And then each role needs to have their core functions, right? That they own. It's their 5 core functions. So if it's a lead gen, client conversations, transactions, whatever it is, and you start mapping those out. And what I found to be useful is start with the TC that you like. And if you don't like them, fire them quickly. Get another one in there. And then get another one, and then get another one. You find one, get them built up on TC stuff, and then let them train the next TC and they move on to maybe client conversations if that's what you want them to do. That's your prerogative. But now they know you and they move up the ranks and you keep replacing those roles and it kind of keeps moving over. But here's the thing I see most people mess up that are company or team leads. They don't give authority to the people to make decisions. So we call our staff coordinators. And I tell my agents very clearly, they own their role. They are not doing your job and you're not doing their job. It's very defined, but they know what they're doing and they own it. It is theirs. They're not an assistant. Assistants assist you in doing something. They do it and they know how to do it and they're there to help you do it because they have the authority to do it. And then they roll things uphill if I need to get involved. But again, you have to give them authority. And that means you either didn't hire, if you don't want to, you didn't hire the right person or you don't have it documented well.
Yeah, dude. And that's so hard. Like giving them the task and the authority and the responsibility. So it's like, here's the task. And you're also the one responsible for making sure this task gets done. As simple as like, hey, hey, you order coffee for the event, right? Like, don't come back to me with all the issues. If you need help, cool. But like, it's your responsibility that coffee is there on the 22nd when we were sitting in that room, right? Like come hell or high water. So I gave the task, but that I also give them the responsibility. And what I'm famous for is going like, oh, I'll just do that. Right. They go, oh, I don't really know what. And I go, oh, right. So I just take it back. That means you're not actually giving it away.
Here's a fun thing you can do. And it really is fun. Do the 10-80-10. So let's talk about coffee, right? You just said ordering coffee. Sit down your meeting with your person and go, hey, I want coffee for the event. I want dark roast, iced coffee, whatever. I don't care where from. Here's the budget. They go source it. They go find it. They go schedule it. They go do it. And at the end, they go, hey, Brad, here's what I ordered. Here's what's going to show up. Here's when it's going to show up. I'm like, okay, that works. Or, oh, don't forget, we get there an hour early to set up. We should have coffee for ourselves. Why don't you set it back an hour early, right? Or don't forget the creamer. This is a really stupid analogy, but that takes you out of it and you get them live feedback. You did a little bit, they do a lot of it, and then you just tweak the end to make sure it's exactly what you want without feeling micromanaging and them feeling like they don't have autonomy to do stuff and they're learning.
Well, and I think documenting is so simple, and you're so much better at that than I am. But even for like E4, E5, like we have a list of supplies, and it's like, because it's like, oh crap, we forgot the stir sticks. Like I don't have to remember stir sticks. I just want on the list. I can check. And it's like, and for us too, like most of those documents are living documents. It's like, oh crap, this time we forgot blank, or we didn't realize that this, and I just add it on, like it's a living, breathing document. And then I can go to my assistant and go, hey, do we have everything for the event? And instead of her going, well, what do we need? Do we have everything for the event? She goes, yeah, I went down the checklist and I checked every box, right? Simple and beautiful. And I think that is, and every time, one of the great things you look at is every time you build a checklist, that's an asset. Every time you build a form, that's an asset. Every time you template an email, that's an asset. And your company in a lot of ways is worth, one of the ways you value a company is how many assets do they have, right? Do they have the stuff documented, or is it like we hope and pray? But assets is what helps build a lot of value in your company as well.
Yep. Absolutely. And I think that's where it comes in as a team lead or CEO. You got to have that time to build those. Somebody else can't build them for you. You can try, but you're going to need to be involved somewhat. And then lastly, I think we need to talk about, well, not second to last, right? So what roles are necessary and you actually need in scaling a team, and which ones are kind of fun to have? And, I think the early must-haves, we talked about this earlier, but I think it goes like this, right? So it goes, obviously, transaction coordination. That's the stuff that is very important. You're making a lot of promises and you need somebody to fulfill those promises. So if you're out in the field all day, that lockbox still showed up. I think the next one, in my opinion, would probably be a lead manager, which could also be a licensed buyer's agent or whatever, but they're managing the leads. Maybe it's sign calls, website inquiries, stuff like that 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 can do it. But
and a lot of that is like, we can call it executive assistant. We can call that, and that can be virtual, it can be personal also. But the best analogy for that next person is you're making spaghetti all the time and they're cleaning it up, right? You're like, you went to the happy hour and met Bob that needs to sell his house in 6 months, and you go, remind me to call Bob next week, right? You need the person you can throw all those things at, and they're like, hey, here's the 3 people to call today. Here's the things you said you need to do today. Make sure we get. It's almost like your boss. It's almost like your accountability partner. Call him executive assistant. Call him whatever you want to call him. But you need that person that helps you stay in the lane of what you need to be doing.
And one of the things I see with these roles that people make a mistake in is you either pay them too little or they don't have a vision for a future with you. It is, I sit in the seat for 9 hours a day. I hit this button. This comes in. I hit this button. So I think people naturally need to know, am I doing a good job? And what metrics mean I'm doing a good job? And are they attainable, right? So with a TC, it might be client surveys. Maybe they either get the client survey for you, or they also say, how was my role from the other agent? So if they're doing a good job. But I think everybody needs that. And that's where we just think, oh, they're self-serve. They'll be fine. We don't need to have any metrics. And you're not going to keep good people because people want to be appreciated and they need to know if they're doing a good job.
One of the little things that I'll say is, this is powerful. Most people that I encounter feel like they need to have all this stuff documented and figured out before they get any help. What I would say is for a low level button pusher, that is true. But your first hire like this needs to be someone that is in essence, let's say you have nothing documented and everything's just a crap show. You need someone that can kind of sit next to you or sit on Zoom all day long watching you and going, you know what, Brad, I think I can do that for you next time. You know what, Brad, I think I can do that research. Hey, you know what, Brad, like I've got this, I'm going to do it. You need someone that's kind of like taking things from you and building processes alongside of you. So I think sometimes people wait too long because they feel like they have to have everything perfect before they bring somebody in. And the first person you bring in is someone that understands where you're at and is helping build those things as you're going, I think.
Yeah. Well, I think I like how you just called your shot. You're like, I'm going to share something with you and it's going to be impactful. You're like, so way to call your shot, Babe Ruth. But also that reminded me that if you don't have somebody that's constantly trying to take something off your plate, you've hired the wrong person. If you have somebody that's just sitting there going, I don't know what to do next. Well, you didn't tell me. Like, wrong person, fire them, move on. You're not a bad person for firing somebody. You're a bad person for keeping somebody that's not doing a good job. Like, let them go, work somewhere else where they'll be better at. So, and that leads me to the bottleneck. That's the last thing that a lot of people don't scale and don't grow, even though they are growing. They're not scaling appropriately because they're bottlenecking everything. They're on every interview. They're on every checklist. They're on this, they're on that. And it's only them that can make decisions, right? So at the very last, if you're not scaling and you feel stuck in your business and you don't have the right structure, make sure that you're not the bottleneck keeping yourself from growing. And sometimes we do it on purpose so we feel wanted.
Yep. Very true. Can I give out the worst 2 hires to make?
Yes.
The worst hire to make is when you think you can, I guess this would be the first one. The worst hire to make is a lead generator, I believe. I
Yes.
believe someone calling your leads
Yeah.
or someone that's trying, you try to hire an ISA or something like that in the beginning is the worst thing you can do. Trying to get someone to be your voice, trying to get someone to go lead generate for you I get it. We would all love to make that hire first. It is the worst first hire you could, apart from maybe other agents, but it's the worst thing you can do. I believe in the beginning.
Yeah, no, I'm speaking from experience. I probably hired 3 or 4 in my career before I really built out my structure. And it was funny because I'm like, they don't know what they're doing. They'll never get it. I'll call some and I call some like, I got them to answer. I got them the question, like, because I have 20 years worth of knowledge. I have 20 years worth of speaking to people at a topic I know inside and out, and they're new to the realm. And like, it's just, God, that is not, you need to hire somebody to take some of the TC stuff off so you can do that. Like, absolutely. What's your other worst hire?
Man, I think the other worst hire is getting, and we do a whole episode on this, but getting into a partnership so that you get to avoid hard work, right? Like, oh, I'm going to partner with this person because I think they have a lot of leads. I'm going to partner with this person because I think they're willing to do calls and I'm not. Like the other worst is like partnering with someone so you get to avoid hard things is usually one of the worst things you can do. Yeah.
I agree 100%. I'm not a big fan of partnerships, even though I have a couple of them, but I've got the right ones. I've had some bad ones and you're just hiding at that point. So don't do that.
Yeah.
All right. So guys, that's gonna wrap up this episode, but I think we should, the next episode, do something on partnerships, the pros, the cons, how to have a good partnership, the boundaries, the agreements, the legality. Like I've been through all that shit. So I think that's in the next episode. So make sure you hit like and subscribe because we want that episode to come right in your inbox.
Go get Untucked.
Hey, real quick, if you're liking this content, imagine having a full day immersed with people that are on this, like us, that are learning from each other.
Man, we do these kind of events, these intensive, a couple times a year. And if you know that you are the smartest person in the room and you need to get in some other rooms, this is the place to be, right? So apply, send us a message right now. We'll send you the application link and see if you are the right fit to be in one of the rooms.